Well, this is a historic day for Be Heard, Empower Yourself, because I am going quite public with something that people don't usually do. If you have not heard of it, there is something called the Akashic Records, which is a spiritual library that contains records of all events, thoughts, feelings, and actions that have ever happened. And they are believed to be a storehouse of information about every person who ever lived. And I have with me Eric. Hi, Eric. How are you? Did I say Eric? I
You
am losing
did.
my mind. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. That's why. Aaron Solis. Don't mind me.
Am
I
I on
just,
the right reading?
yeah, no, I just went from a business thing for the board, writing letters. So I have lots of names in my head.
You are totally good.
Yeah, it's just right. But we have Erin Solis with us, and she did my reading. And
Mhm.
this will be the first time that I've heard it too. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to her and let her explain a little bit more and then see what happens. Welcome,
Absolutely.
Erin.
Yeah. This is a first for me too, because usually these are done in private sessions. I always record them, but it's an audio recording and I just send it back to the person. Because there's a lot that goes on and a lot of information. So it's nice to have that recording so you don't have to feel like you have to stop and write everything down and wait, what was that? What was that? So just know that it's all being captured. But I will go start to finish with how I start one of these. And basically, everybody I've done readings for doesn't know what this is. So we will start with that premise too, that we are talking about Akashic Records and what it is. Um, and I'll explain it how I understand it and the way it makes sense to me, and hopefully that will resonate with you. But essentially, the Akashic Records, just like you said, are our soul's library of the things that have happened, will happen, storing energy, kind of. You can think of it as karmic too, in a way, but not necessarily in the way that you think of karma, or the way we go, oh, bad karma or whatever. It's more like the karmic patterns of those energy things that come through based on our choices. And sometimes those choices we have made in the past, either past life, past in this life, or past in other lives, they didn't get resolved. And so those energies carry through, and they can actually cause some fairly significant blockers or energetic restrictions, as we would call them, in what you're doing now. And sometimes it's just like, I keep trying to do this new thing and the same thing keeps coming back over and over and over. Or why am I in this same situation again? I thought I was getting it. But a lot of times it's like your soul is redoing those to keep trying to figure it out. And if we don't clear them and let them go, that's going to be a longer lesson. So the way I explain Akashic Records is it's in the fifth dimension, and you can think of it as a big library. And I've heard different things about giant pillars and gold or whatever, but I don't think we have any way of possibly understanding what something looks like at the fifth dimension from the third dimension. So just know that it is your library, and it is you and all of your wonderful um iterations of however long you have been on this earth, and how many ever times. So knowing that it's in the fifth dimension, then there's the fourth dimension, which is our thoughts and feelings. And then there's the third dimension where we live. So after I do the readings, I do clearings for you. So I've already done the clearings in your Akashic Records. And essentially, those are cleared out. And what I like about the records is that it's your library, which means you can check things in and check things out and change what's on the shelves as you go through this life and other lives. So nothing is said. It's not like, well, this thing happened to me and now I have to do it over and over and I have no choice. Or, I was born on this day at this time, and so it's always going to be like this. The records are yours. So you are the divine creator of your own experience. And that is one of the most powerful things, and also kind of the scariest things, is that you are responsible for what happens here. And so you are responsible, but you also get to be responsible. So those are good. So anyway, the fifth dimension, because it is not very dense, that's the easiest place to make changes. So we put the intention in, we do the clearings. As soon as you essentially say, yes, I agree, I want that cleared, it's cleared.
Oh.
Then we come down into the fourth dimension, and then thoughts and feelings. And it's a little bit harder, but not too bad to change your thoughts. So you can change a thought and say, I'm going to react differently to this. That's a thought. But where's the hardest place to make changes? Third
Mm.
dimension.
Hmm.
That is I kind of think of it as kind of going through the mud. Like, this is the mud. You're not walking on the land. You're not floating in the air like the fifth dimension. This is the mud. So to have that intention, put it into a thought, but then put it into action, that's where the major change comes. So that's why I also work with, my action framework, which I created, which we are in the first part, which is acknowledge and awaken. So we're going to awaken and, acknowledge those past things. And then we do the clear and challenge, because you got to challenge the ways that you think of things and do things. And that
Yeah.
goes to the transform. And then kind of from there is the maintenance. And eventually you get to the S of actions. And that is where you surrender and share. Because once you say, yep, I am a divine being and I deserve all the glory and happiness that I get to have, then you have surrendered to it and it's yours. So always a journey. And I just kind of think you do these steps over and over. So anyway,
Okay.
now we get into the meat of it. Any questions so far?
No, I'm so excited.
Okay.
I can't wait
Yeah.
for
So
all
there's
everything.
there's three parts to it. And the way I do it, it's all pretty organized, I guess. And it ends up being quite logical, even though you might think these things are not. And what I end up doing is taking pages and pages and pages of notes on you. So everything I do is handwritten. It's not like, and these are all yours. So things come through, I get them organized, and then I just ask your records to give me the story. So whatever comes up today is something that was revealed to me because you're ready to deal with it. There's going to be, how many ever infinite things in there, and not all of it comes through, but it's kind of nice because you can do this again and get more information and do other clearings. So it's not kind of a one-time thing. I think the other thing that's important is that it's we get it all cleared, but it's like exercise where you don't get credit for the run you did last year. So, it's kind of ongoing, but it gets easier and easier. And you start noticing those things when you're starting to go down, what we call negative choices or actions, and you get back to the positive. Whereas before you didn't even realize they were negative. So the negative choices are things that are going away from your divine, I guess, like your path, and positive or towards. And those could be different for different people.
Mhm.
Like going in a store and buying 3 apples might actually be a negative choice for somebody, but it might be a positive for you, depending what it is. So the three parts that we go through, first, we do your soul blueprint, soul history, essentially, and your
Okay.
blueprint, and then current life situations that came up, and then past lives. So you
Oh,
have a little bit in all of these. Um, so let me start with the first part. And what came up for you is that you are first of all, you're a positive soul, which is what we want. If it was a negative soul, I pretty much couldn't do this, because that means your soul is just cut off from the divine source and essentially getting energy, and I guess we call it energy, from other people.
okay.
So, needing to do that either in a way that looks positive or negative, but not connected to the infinite source that is feeding
Thank
and
God.
nourishing soul. And you probably encountered these, and they can be very exhausting. You also do not have a shifting soul. So when you were born, one soul came in, and that's the soul you've had. There can be situations where we call it a walk-in, where you were born with one and maybe something happened, and I almost like, I always do weird visuals, but I imagine like a handshake of two players, subbing in, and one of them's like, I'm out. And the other one goes, I come in. And that one is what it is for the rest of the life. And then you can have situations, and I have encountered this, not many times, but where there's multiple souls coming in and out throughout. And
Mm.
that can be very disconcerting. However, you are monosouled. So your soul centers, you have two. You have a primary and a secondary, which not everyone does. And your primary energy source is called divine truth and clarity.
Mm.
So I'm going to tell you what that means, and you are just going to, hopefully resonate with it and see where this comes in. But people with it's an energy center 6, it's the divine truth. And it means you are connected to divine truth, which means valuing honesty, clarity, and being able to see beyond illusions, kind of seeing deeper into truths. So this is a little different than one of the other energy centers, which is divine wisdom, which is kind of wisdom of the universe. This is truth right here in 3D, where you might be one of those people that can kind of see through things, or you can see truth before other people do.
Yeah.
And that is your gift. So we call these gifts, even though the gift is essentially something that comes easy to you. And so you never really think of it as a gift because it's just who you are. My energy center is 7. I have a 5 and a 7. So that's different. And those are just things that come easy to me, but I just figure everybody can do them. But once I started looking at this, I'm like, oh no, not this, what I find obvious and just things that come to me are not what are going to be the same for other people. So, excellent observers, insights into people and circumstances, often good with consulting, advising. People, I don't know, do they tend to kind of inherently trust you?
Yes. Yes.
And what you can be really good at is guiding others to see their own truths.
Mhm.
Um, so there's positives, like this is when you're in positive polarity. Some of the struggles though are that truth can be inconvenient and sometimes unwelcome. So where you are seeing the truth in something, and when you get that feeling and you just know it's the truth, even though it's not something out there, you can trust yourself. It is the truth. However, that doesn't mean other people are ready for it,
Right.
are going to welcome it, or that it is something they want to hear right now. And that can be the hard part, because you may want to be able to share and just like, I see this, I don't know why you don't. And they're
Yes.
not going to want to see it.
I experience that a lot.
So the struggle is going to be where if you share the truth and it's ignored, that can really kind of send you into that, what we would call a negative polarity. Like
Mm.
what ends up happening is, okay, fine, you're not going to hear it, I'm not going to say it. And so what you do is you start shutting those down and not sharing them.
Mm.
Whereas, they need to be heard. So just knowing like those can kind of be the sort of triggers or things that will be the struggles, and knowing that the answer isn't to say, I'm not going to share this and I'm not going to do this. It's to find a way to help people hear it. So that's kind of the challenge to you too. Uh, do you tend to be blunt and direct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that with this, because of that, and I mean, that's part of it, but also that can alienate people. So now they don't want to hear the truth, even though you have it.
I tell people, look, I'm very, very direct and blunt, but I need to tell you something. I warn them.
And that might actually be good. That might be a really good way to handle that. Like, look, this is going to come out, but this is it. Um, I don't know if you have clashes with authority or have struggled in relationships, but often that truth, doesn't mesh well with reality and rules.
Mm.
Um, Questions there, or any comments you want to add?
About authority.
Or any of that.
But it sounds really right on. Yeah. Yeah. That's my personality. And people do come to me for advice, and I do tend to see things before other people see things. So yeah. Yeah.
That is
You're
it.
right. Mhm.
So you have a secondary energy center. And like I said, not everybody does. And your second energy center is the 7th, which is um it's called divine power, but it's really within power of ourselves. So this is really rooted in free will, independence, and needing choice. And
Mm,
I actually have the second energy center too. So it does make sense to me. But um,
mm,
this is where you being able to do what you need to do and have the independence to do it is really important. Now, another significant part of the seventh energy centers is powerful manifestation, being able to manifest things.
mm,
However, you can also manifest a whole lot of nothing, if it's not put towards something. So uh,
mm,
there can be a frustration with obligation and feeling like you have to do something.
mm,
Can tend to be a lot of pushback there. So I think one thing there is to kind of ensure if there's situations where you just have to do it, you're going to have to sort of come to a place where you find, a reason why, basically, why you need to do that, because just kind of grudging through it is not going to work. Another part that comes up is over analyzing choices and
mm.
taking too many options and looking at everything and never actually getting to the point where you take the action because you're still back looking at all the choices and how many things, what else can I look at? Um, but these two together can really help you express truth so others can hear it and
Mm.
also take um, action,
Yeah.
decisive action.
Hmm.
Next notes, be mindful to not take on too much at once, because
Oh, yes.
that's going to be where that, seventh energy center is making the choices, having decisions. I mean, yes, you want to have all the decisions, but if you put too many in front of you, it's going to be stagnant and you're not going to know which way to go.
That's right.
So that's what I have for your energy centers, but you also have a soul group. And
Oh,
this is your soul
and-
origin. So I kind of say this is the wooest part of this.
oh, I love it.
Yeah, we come from the stars. We come from the stars. So we all have a place of origin. Your soul origin is Polaris, and you can look it up. There's not a lot. You can see what you can find online. Sometimes Chat GPT can come up with some interesting stuff, but um, you might not find anything. But I will tell you what I know about this and what it means. And then you also have what's called an underlay, which means your soul started as what was called a blueprint changer, but then ended up at Polaris. So it's like kind of like being born one place and being there a little bit. So you kind of have characteristics of that place, but then you really did most of your life somewhere else. And so you have a lot more characteristics of the second one. So,
Oh,
born one place and then end up somewhere else. And
mm,
again, not everybody has what's an overtone or underlay, but you do. So your Polaris part is rooted in stability and kind of being a North Star for people, which really kind of goes really well with the sixth energy center of being able to tell the truth, but also kind of be grounded.
mm,
Um, Valuing unity, inclusivity, really being able to bring people together, building relationships, wholeness, togetherness, kind of really understanding and wanting that in your life.
yeah.
That can also lead, though, resistance to change or being stuck in or outdated. Now, you'll see why this is interesting and why you may feel conflicted sometimes, because your other soul part is like the opposite of this. But what can happen here is kind of being loyal to a fault, like just staying there because of the unity, because of wanting to bring people together and keep people together, staying too long where it no longer serves you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Done it.
So rather than see that it's time to get out, this isn't, leading towards your most abundant self, you stay because let me see how I can make this all work.
Yep. And I just started looking at that last year and making some changes. So
Yeah.
you are definitely right there with me. Mm-hmm.
So what yeah, the blueprint changers are also really interesting, and they are actually a special soul group that were
Mm.
brought here to shift the consciousness by addressing dysfunction.
Oh,
So you were actually sent here, and this is where I got the full body chills. So that's how I know this is real. I get this whole all the way up my body. um, ability to recognize what isn't working and change it. You have that ability. But you can see why that Polaris, being that grounding and kind of getting stuck in outdated things, can be a conflict, because you're here to change those. But then there's part of you is like, well, tradition's good.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, ability to recognize what isn't working. The hard part of this is going into victimization and feeling stuck in hardship, where there's power struggles. You like, I just have to stay here. This is what I have to do. Not realizing like you're here to help those changes happen. So I guess the takeaway for you is being able to balance the stability with the change, which
Mm.
can feel contradictory, but you're here to dismantle outdated systems, but also value tradition. Now, a thing that came to me, which was not part of, kind of this standard, is that you are wired to dismantle outdated structures as they have to do with family.
Oh, really?
Does that make sense to you at all?
It does. Yes, it does. When you say structure, what do you mean by structure? The
Well, I also wrote marriage is a false dynamic that was made up by society. No, it doesn't mean you're not married, but I don't know that there's some structure within how families, an outdated structure with how families operate, that you are here to change and make better.
Oh, that's good news.
I
I know you couldn't read the book beforehand. That was
did
right.
not, didn't even
But when
touch
you
it.
read the book, and you will see the dysfunction of my family and the families around me, the all the relatives in that family. Um, and my first two marriages and all of that, a lot of these things have come together. They're coming together for me right now, hearing this. The struggle, the wanting to keep the tradition and stay in a marriage, but knowing that it was not right. And yeah, this is all fitting in for me. I'm
Yeah,
getting,
yeah,
I'm,
this is you. I mean, and family. I just wrote the word family.
I will say, I'll say this too. I raised three daughters. And every time they had a serious boyfriend, I said, you don't have to get married. You can move in together first, which mothers don't usually say that. But having been divorced and all, I told each of them, no, don't get married. Don't get married. So I think that's disrupting a traditional family.
Again, there's no way I would have known that, but it's written right up there. Family is, yeah, marriage is
all,
dynamic.
all three girls,
Yep,
I
these are
yeah.
your, and that's where this stuff, I'm like, yep, this is just what comes through. And I write these things down and I go, I'm not going to question it. What if, but I'm
Yep.
hoping it makes sense to you. And it sounds like it does, because
Oh, yeah. That's a big one right there. Yeah.
so that is your background. That's your blueprint.
Okay.
Uh, let's see what else. You have a high soul vibration. You have lots of spheres of protection now, and you actually had three at birth. And
Protection.
yep. So spheres of protection are kind of layers of protection. Kind of think of like the rings around Saturn or something, but really kind of there to keep negative energy from coming in. But you have quite a few,
Are
which can
they
be
are they like spirits or
um
entity kind or
more like energy protection, like
just
force fields in this one.
force?
You yeah,
Okay.
you do have spirit guides. You have 5 spirit guides.
Oh, good. I
Yep.
need
And
them.
I do have another a whole other session where actually tapping into the spirit guides for guidance just for you. So you do
Mhm.
have 5. You also had 2 which were considered negative, and I'll show you where those come up. But negative guides come in. So guides can come in, like you have your 5 core that are always with you. Um,
Mhm.
something can happen and you may need a little extra help. And so a guide comes in to kind of help you work through something challenging, and they're supposed to leave. When they don't leave and they hang around too long, that's when we call them negative. Because, let's see, this one was around blame. And so you actually got over this situation, But this guide stuck around. Be like, hey, remember when you felt like you should be blamed for everything? And you go, well, I do now, they're not useful anymore. So we're letting those go.
I think I have one with resentment. Yes, I have one, I think, dealing with resentment that I thought I got rid of, but it keeps coming up. Maybe
Yeah.
that.
So
Mhm.
you have one, two, three, four present life situations that I will go over. We'll do those first.
Okay.
And then one, two, three, four past life situations.
Why can't
So
we?
present life, I kind of give you what came up and you need to sort of fill in the blanks. The past lives have more story around them, but I just always start from the earliest one and then up through your life. So anyway, the first situation was from between 8 and 10 years old.
Okay.
And this, a negative guide did come in around suffering at the fourth chakra, which is around relationship with others and with yourself, which can look like having difficulty with loving relationships, shutting down, feeling jaded. But this was suffering around relationships.
I do not remember my childhood from age 5 to 11.
So you might, well, this
That,
one did get cleared, but
that fits the time period, the time frame. Hmm.
so something you might get a memory or something, or just a little thought or feeling, and you
Yeah.
can reach out to me and say, oh, yeah, I just thought of this.
Yeah.
Um, the next one was between 12 and 14. And between this age, a negative guide again around blame at your first chakra, which is your connection to family,
Mhm.
connection to tribe. Um, this was, and also a scar at your fifth chakra. So something came up around communication, self-expression, feeling ungrounded or misplaced. And you had to deal with that, but you did, so there was a tear at that chakra, but you healed it, which is why there was a scar.
That makes sense. Sure. I was the oldest of four, and my father's an alcoholic. So when you're the oldest, you're looked up to. My siblings looked up to me and also sought protection and things like that. And when you said I healed it, I did a lot of work on that in therapy. That makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe not being able to communicate, not being able to express yourself or being heard, and then working through that, and you can now. So to me, the scars are beautiful because it means something got healed in there.
It's
And then
wonderful.
perhaps being the oldest, there was a lot of blame to you around the family and family dynamics. So,
Mhm.
and this one hit you at the mental level. So something really that was intrusive to your thoughts versus your emotions.
Mm, interesting.
Jumping ahead. Oh, did you have a comment on that one?
Oh, I'm just putting it's fitting very well into my memory of my young life. Yeah. Hmm.
The next one was between 30 and 35, but I got closer to 30, somewhere closer to the 30s. Um,
Okay.
there was another scar at the seventh chakra, which is around personal freedom, choice, and agency. So there may have been some disempowerment, giving in, victimization, feeling controlled or being controlling. Um, a negative thought form of anxiety, which was at you. So somebody created anxiety towards you, kind of shooting anxiety towards you. But around this personal freedom, there's also a scar there, which means you did the work apparently. And
Yes.
there was,
Yeah.
I don't know if your choices or your ability to make choices for yourself or your personal freedom was being infringed, but it was definitely,
My ex-husband at the time would not recognize that we were divorced, and he stalked me, and he bullied me, and he harassed me, and he abused me. And I had that all going on, and I had panic attacks, and I had to do relocations, and I did all these things. So that fits in perfectly with that time frame because that was between 77 and 79.
And that's the anxiety. Yeah.
That
And
was
there was also, now this one is called a compassionate connection, where you made kind of a soul connection with somebody, but it might have been good at the time, but those are also ones we need to release. It was with a client who was a female. And I don't really have any much more information about that. But there was like somebody that maybe hung on a little too long energetically for you. So we cleared that too.
time period was when, would you say?
30 to 35.
And um, she hung on or I hung on?
It would have been you kind of hanging on to her.
Hmm. Have to think about that.
Yeah. And the last one was between 40 and 45.
Okay.
And there was okay, so it's an independent negative thought form of violence around the sixth chakra, which is your intuition, vision, and truth. So what this can mean is like kind of intrusive thoughts or imagery, that conflict is necessary, or others are against you, or revenge is justified, kind of retaliation. Sort of, that's what I mean by these independent negative thoughts, because you didn't create them, but they kind of came at you from outside influences and then sort of stayed there around your own truth, around your own vision. But like, so it doesn't mean you necessarily were in fights, but just these kind of intrusive thoughts like, yes, there's going to be aggression towards me, or I need to be aggressive towards others to get this done.
Right. When you read the book, you'll see what that was because it was there. And that was the time. That's when I married my third and last husband, thank God.
So I said, perhaps even violent or chaotic dreams. That was another note that could come up. Also, around this time, was there any sort of surgery or implant or stitches or something?
Between my 40 and 45 and ongoing from there, I have lots. Yeah. A lot of surgeries, a lot implants I had. I think my first knee implant would have been around there.
Okay. Well, this got negative energy attached to it around anger at your third chakra, which is your self-esteem, as in things get being stuck and everything just takes too much effort.
Mm-hmm.
Anger around that, anger not being able to do things perhaps more
Yeah,
easily. So
yeah. When you get a knee replacement, it takes you a while to, you need a lot of physical therapy and different things. So I can understand that. Yeah.
so those are your, and you kind of got to shake it off. So those are your present ones.
Yeah.
And
They
okay,
they all
all those energies are cleared. So
cleared. Lots
you're
of
ready to
clear.
let those go too. The
Yes.
anger around self-esteem or being stuck or taking too much effort, we're going to
Yeah.
let that go too. Doesn't have to be effort. So
Yeah, let's get that. And the one between 77 and 79 that I would like to permanently get rid of that keeps coming back with the resentments and there's a lot of violence. And
that
yeah,
one.
yeah, let's clear that away. Yeah.
So your past lives, these come through as more of stories around the patterns. So I don't know. My favorite thing is to kind of start with the one that's the furthest back and move up.
Okay.
Uh, and what you may find in here is some of these things kind of stick around, at least how, maybe even how you deal with things, or yeah, that's kind of still there. But um, there's a lot of other ones, a lot of other past lives too, but these are the ones that are kind of still sticking around. Now, I guess it's nice to know that not everything we've ever done in our lives didn't get resolved. Like there's going to be things that you did some lifetimes ago that got resolved and they're no longer there. So those don't really show up because like I said, we're doing the awaken and challenge because we gotta dig into what's
Yeah.
stopping you. Okay, so 7 lifetimes ago, you were a female. And in this one, there was a thought form of withdrawal that you created, which was also attached to a portal between the third and fourth dimension. So astral travel between the third and fourth means between being here physically in this body and then kind of being up in your head and doing too much thinking.
Mm.
So let's see, what this current might currently do is kind of feeling like a victim, needing protection, which can lead to isolation. So consciously created this portal and used it for astral travel to avoid or can contribute to avoidance of personal responsibility.
Mm.
So rather than deal with things that are here and now in this body, kind of opening that portal, spending a lot of time thinking and dreaming, and that can, be a way of avoiding
Well, that's the
responsibility of
thing
things that are now.
that I had to
Um,
avoid. Yeah.
it also can show up as spiritual bypassing, meaning like using spiritual practices rather than to get ourselves ahead to kind of ignore the stuff that we have to deal with.
Mhm.
So avoiding difficult emotions via affirmations or meditation. It's escapism instead of true transformation. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. Getting into the spiritual realm can be very, very empowering and transformative, but it can also be something that blocks you, which I don't think people quite realize. Yes, I do my meditation and I'm doing all this, but are you really doing it to get ahead, or are you doing it so you don't have to deal with some of those more challenging or difficult emotions?
So are there things left over from that lifetime that I should still work on?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And also, and potentially, and then blocking you from getting more faster. That's what came up for me. Like these kind of things are blocking you from getting to where you want to be faster.
Okay, that makes sense. Mhm.
Yeah, it's getting in the way of you manifesting faster because you have this great manifesting power. But if you're in that stuck, like, well, I'm just gonna kind of not avoid this or do something else besides deal with these issues right now, though it just, yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of see like this big pillow or like spongy thing between you and manifesting, and you still got this nice cushion. There's a big cushion between you and what you want to manifest and get there, and but the cushion is so nice and cushy.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's where I am. And I'm changing a lot of things in my life. And I feel like I want to leave a big legacy. And I'm working on something. And I'm wondering if I'm working it the right way. So what you're saying kind of makes sense to me, that I'm blocking myself from doing what I need to do, right? That's what I'm hearing. Just like,
Which also with your seventh energy center, kind of spinning wheels, doing more decisions, kind of getting stuck there rather than making the motion
yeah,
forward. So think about those.
yes, I will.
So this
Definitely.
one came through a little clearer. This is 5 lifetimes ago. You were a female. And let's see what came through. There was God spark damage. So like your line to divine source kind of got damaged, got a little leaky. So all that good stuff coming into you, all that energy coming to your soul, some of it's leaking out. There was also, an attached soul. So you have several souls that attached from you to you in these past lives.
Hmm.
And this one's around worry at your self-esteem. So uh let's see, you had a female friend who was not a good friend to you.
Hmm.
And in this one, you made a vow of sacrifice to her. So you actually felt like you needed to sacrifice, and it was important to make sacrifice
Mhm.
because someone got hurt. So the friend attached to you. And in my stories, I got to do my stories, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I meant. So the sacrifice was between yourself and the friends, and the friend actually ended up passing away or dying. So you kind of sacrificed both of you.
Hmm.
And you were really worried about meeting goals here. Okay, so here's where the story card starts to come in. It was actually a warrior gladiator. It was like a warrior or gladiator. You were a female warrior gladiator.
Oh, what's that?
The worry, yeah, and the worry around the goals and achievement was your family, because in this one you never achieved your actual family. So it was like a sacrifice to do this thing, to be this warrior,
Instead of having a family. Oh,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay. Got it.
And I think you had confided a lot to the friend, like you wanted a family, but the sacrifice you were going to go do this and be with this person who you considered a friend. She worried you'd never achieve it, and you didn't. So it was like too much sacrifice, too much worry. Um,
And didn't have a good outcome.
no, so you're just worried. There was a lot of violence, obviously,
Mm,
and the soul can't remember anything but the sacrifice.
wow.
So that's why it's called your memory clouded. So from this one, like there's all this sacrifice, and all you remembered was the sacrifice. You didn't remember the joy. You only remembered the worry and sacrifice here. But you
Wow.
were really brave, and things were really harsh, and it was wartime. And the ultimate sacrifice was dying in battle, but you didn't leave a legacy here.
Yeah.
So how this can come through maybe is like there's no time to achieve goals. Goals continue to require sacrifice and constant worry. They won't be actualized. Um, and you're good at reminding yourself, but
Sounds like I was a
thoughts
strong person.
there. What's that?
I think I was a strong person in a way.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of strength there.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that can carry on through your lives. Like if you had that then, you could have it now. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm a strong person. And there's been times where I had to be a warrior, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Very strong.
Yeah.
Um, what we want to get rid of though is that kind of vow of sacrifice you made between this and that things need to require sacrifice.
Mhm.
They don't need to, it doesn't have to feel like a sacrifice.
So I have to get my mind wrapped around the fact that um, you don't have to make a sacrifice to um, get to a certain place. You can get there without making sacrifices. Is that
Yes,
it?
they don't
Oh,
have to feel like sacrifices. Yes, yes, it doesn't have to be one for the other.
good.
But
Okay.
also maybe a constant worry that things won't be actualized.
I gotcha.
And it comes through this.
Yeah.
Oh, going to this page. 3 lifetimes ago, you were a female again, so you have a lot of feminine energy. You do have one where you were male. Um, and this was a childhood situation where you were the child and you had a contract of protection. So contracts are made between two souls. One of them is usually the protector, one the protected, and you were actually receiving this protection. So in this one, you had a mother who was very protective, and you let the mother overprotect you. So that was kind of the contract you made. I'm going to let you protect me, even though I don't really need it, because I think that's how I'm going to show that my love to you, basically, is
Mhm.
that I'm going to let you protect me. Um,
How
yes,
would that how would that affect me in my current state? Would that carry over in some kind of a characteristic or flaw or
mhm.
uh yeah.
Yeah. So I'll show you that. So yeah, you let her protect you even though you didn't need it. And it was like
Mm.
showing love, beating, letting her protect you from the world. And she never had the contract with you, but she was acting out of kindness, not fear. But it kept you small, and it kept you hidden and complacent.
Okay.
You didn't get to grow because you were always doing this, but her intentions were never bad. That's why it was a one-sided contract.
Mhm.
But what comes through, so, I kind of that story, and then what does this mean? No one else is needed for your protection. So that this contract needs to go because uh, it's not hugely influencing you now, but it's there. So it's like holding on to this your whole lifetime, allowing people to protect you, or you give them your shield to hold for you, is what the image came through. So here,
Yeah.
I'm going to let you protect me. I'm going to let you do the job, even though I know I could do it myself, because that seems kinder.
Huh?
That's how
Okay.
I'm going to show I love you, is letting someone else protect you.
Okay.
So you give them your shield. You gave them your shield to let them protect you, even though you're like, I don't really need you to, but here, let me give it to you.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
how it come through,
Yeah.
letting
Yeah.
others do the work.
Yeah, not now, but I can see sometimes when I wanted a protector, I wished I had a protector, that I've actually said to myself, like, why do I have to do everything myself? And where's my shining white knight, thing type thing. So maybe it's because I had one once and
Yeah,
when I didn't need one, and now when I did need one, I didn't have one.
yeah, that could be.
Interesting.
So the last one is one lifetime ago when you were a male.
One lifetime away. Now, when you say one lifetime away,
Yeah,
that could be like 80 years ago. Like it could
yeah.
be,
It was whenever your soul was last incarnated.
uh-huh. So I was incarnated from a male.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting because I do feel like I have a lot of not masculine tendencies, but sometimes I feel a lot stronger mentally than men that I know. And I think to myself, like, what's wrong with them? Yeah, that's interesting. And was he a good person?
Well, let's see. You had no. So,
Was it? Okay.
well, let me see. I do these things and then I shut the records and I don't think about them again. So then I have to go
Okay.
through. Okay, so something that came through was actually called unjustified karma of intimidation, which
Mm,
means it wasn't something that you earned or did by through your choices, but in this life you were like, yep, I deserve that. I deserve that karma of intimidation. So it's either being intimidated or now intimidating others or attracting authority figures who use intimidation. It kind of sounds like you might have done that in your life, attracting people who use intimidation.
mm,
Um, you did have a soul attached around this energy of trauma around the fifth chakra, which is
mm,
communication and self expression at the
mm,
emotional level. So, in this one, let's see, you had a female partner and you lived in intimidation. It was not in the relationship, but it was like maybe you couldn't speak up. You couldn't speak up when you needed to. Oh, and if you had spoken up, okay, your wife would have lived. So there was something that happened, and that's the thought. It was the thought that um,
I
speaking up
caught,
caused trauma.
yeah, yeah,
So she got hurt, and then you ended up carrying this if only kind of statement. If only I'd been able to speak up. If only I'd done something else. Like this kind of, yeah, causing trauma by not speaking up.
yeah,
Um, so that added this memory of trauma to your story of trauma of not speaking up and fear if you don't, something bad will happen. So part of this journey is healing this. So I got the sense you probably speak up a lot now.
yeah.
And it's
Oh,
no longer, so it's like no longer will I be silenced. No longer will words hurt or cause hurt.
that's
So
right.
mission to expose and exchange change family dynamics, that's what's happening. So it's like it didn't have to come through as something awful, but that's where it's coming through now is this is your time to heal that trauma of if only I'd spoken up. It's like, heck no. I don't know if you or however you want to say that. I'm not going to keep quiet this time.
Well, that's true. I mean, I wrote the memoir and I didn't leave anything out at all. I upset a few people, not because I said anything bad about them, but they did not like the idea that I told the world my story.
Yeah.
And so that's really a change. That really came out of not speaking up to totally speaking up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, yep, full 180 on this one. So, but that's what came up that this is your healing part. This is where this one is not part of your story anymore. This trauma of intimidation or not being able to speak up. It's not part of your story anymore. So
No, now my purpose is to try to help women and men and anybody else that feels that way
Yeah.
to get their voice. So there you go. That totally makes sense. Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a
And
little clearing to do, but it sounds like I did a lot of work already,
mhm.
which I did.
Yes. And let's see if there's something. No, those are all, those are how it all shows up. For you, most of this shows up in your mental life,
Yeah.
occupying your mental life, where it's a lot more your thoughts versus weighing down on your emotions.
Hmm.
A little bit of emotions, and these come out as percents, like 38%. So, kind of a third of your life is kind of bogged down by these things, but we're letting them go. We are clearing them.
Oh, we're gonna clear. Yeah. There's only a few things left. Good. All right.
And that is your whole story.
I found a lot of it very interesting and it fit perfectly with the timelines with present life. And that last one too, fits just perfectly, from being not able to speak. And then all of a sudden I'm that person that's gonna speak up,
Mhm.
feel like I have purpose and mission in this life. Like I am here for a reason. And I didn't always feel that in the past lives.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
You are a changer.
yeah, I am a changer. And I had someone else that was talking about human design, and she said, "You are a generator."
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I took that as a compliment. Wonderful. So now the next step is we do a clearing. Not right now, but I mean, the person, the client that you work with, you do a clearing on those things that they're still holding
Yep.
on to from
So
past.
I already did the clearing. So when I was in your records, I put the clearing up there, and your job is kind of be like, yep, I agree. And that kind of solidifies it. So those energies get to clear out as soon as you put your intention to, they're cleared. What I do though is, because we talked about the beginning where doing something at the third dimension is the hardest place to do it. I give you a personalized clearing work for you
Oh,
to do, because if you read this, that is something you're doing at this third dimension. That is a new action you hadn't done before,
yeah.
and you you get to take that, and I'll send it to you. But that's what I do for everybody, and you
And
get
then
to.
I'll work on that. And a couple months from now, we'll get back to each other and let people know how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hey, right? This is great. We're educating people on how they can change in a non-traditional way.
Very
It's
much. Yep.
yeah. People would say, "What are you crazy?" But whatever works.
I
Thank you.
mean, if you.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And when I have time to like let it all sink in, it's really going to hit me. Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of the things you said and the way things are now and how they probably were then. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. So you have been awakened to all this, and
Thank you, Erin. This was
yeah.
wonderful. I enjoyed it. Um, and I'm going to put your information in the show notes in case anybody else would like a reading. But wow, it was great. And I sent you my book. Did you click on the link?
I tried.
And what happened? You didn't
It's
get it?
it sent me to Amazon to log in with that account. So I think I need to try again because I
Do
don't
you
have that email.
have an Amazon account? Is that it?
Yeah, with a different email though.
Oh, well, send me the right email.
Yeah,
And
that was
then,
all.
then
Yeah, I
change.
know. Now I got to dig in and see and be like, yep, there's that.
Yes,
There's that.
I'm going to do a couple shows, I think, on this because I think once you read the book, we want to talk about what you found out in your reading and what actually was and how it all fit together.
Yeah.
That'll be fabulous. All right, you do that. If you still can't get it, I'll send you the paperback. But we got to get going on this. This is intriguing, powerful work. Thank you, everyone. I hope you. I don't know. I don't care if you enjoyed it. I loved it. I this was for me today, and I enjoyed every minute. And thank you again for coming here, and we're going to see each other soon. We're going to keep going on this little path we're on. Okay. All right. All right. Keep well.